Hey there. I've been messing around with the KotOR reverse engineering project recently, and I've come across a couple of interesting little settings and variables that are only available within like the actual code base and aren't typically accessible during the game. So I'm just going to demo some of those for us. So we're going to go in and load up. So yeah, let's just kind of go through some of them. I picked a nice open place like Upper City North so we can see a lot of what's going on here. So yeah, I can disable rendering, for example. So I hit that. Suddenly, no more 3D rendering is occurring. So that's a cool one. I can also disable GUI rendering, like so. And so now there's no more GUIs. So that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. What else do we have? I can adjust the alpha on the GUIs. So right now they're fully visible at 1, but if I set this to 0.5, now you see they're all semi-transparent. So that's another cool one. I can turn lighting off. So now instead of using dynamic lighting, it just puts everything in its max texture color, which looks very strange. There's a few other ones. GOV rendering, which is like basically objects. You can get rid of all of those. I can also disable rendering of static objects, which is basically everything else. And you'll notice that the dynamic rendering is pretty similar to GOV rendering, except we still get rectangles and things like that. I can turn off specifically just characters, which is another fun one. Now here's where things get really cool. The axis align bounding boxes there's a special rendering feature for it for debugging block meshes. So if we enable this, you see now we get the outlines of everything. So red is non-walkable, gray is walkable metal, blue is non-walkable walls. If I head somewhere that has grass, like Dantooine, oopsie, you'll see that grass is showed up as green, water is blue, so on and so forth. It's a very neat little feature that they have set up here. So yeah, that's AABEs. Another one that we can do is we can turn on wireframe mode, which switches everything into its wireframes. So that's yet another really cool one. It makes the menus hard to use though, but it's neat and cool for looking at triangle shapes and things like that. We can also disable scene rendering entirely, which basically just kind of turns everything off. Um, Another neat one is lightsaber rendering, and I need a good spot with lightsabers. I should have prepared ahead of time. I think, there'll be lightsabers here up in the Basilisk Summit. So if you disable lightsaber rendering, you will actually be able to see. Actually, I can just turn on Jolie's lightsaber. So you see, it looks like just a single thin little lightsaber texture. It doesn't have all the effects to it. So it's pretty easy to see if I re-enable it. You can see what the difference looks like. See, now it's all bright and looks emits and things like that. Another cool one is rendering placeholders. So placeholders basically just puts little spheres around all of the different parts for any dynamic rendering, which is handy if you want to like look at invisible objects. Like there's a little invisible object here. This massive door is going to be locked. So, yeah. But yeah. So that's pretty neat and handy. I'm going to head back over to up here. And now we can actually look at some of the more specific elements. So I could disable the ELNLs. Not sure what this stands for, but this is what the symbol on the Mac OS version call them, which seems to take out most of the floors, but not all of them. And then we have EL and Bs. Oopsie. Which takes out some other stuff, a lot of walls and things like that. So a lot of fun little settings to mess with here. Then there's just rendering the environment altogether. Takes out all of this. Notably that this current heavy combat suit is considered environment, but if you take that off, the default clothing is not, which is interesting. So we'll re-enable environment rendering. And now we can also disable tri-mesh rendering. So you'll notice that makes some things disappear, such as my blasters aren't on anymore, as well as the protocol droids. So certain mechanical things use tri-meshes to render, but not everything. Okay, so we'll re-enable this. So now for this next one, there's a girl that walks around here that is very good for demonstrating dangly mesh. I don't know where she is right now, though. She's probably over this way. Because dangly mesh doesn't get used a lot in this game, but if we can't find her, I have another good example. There she is. So, if we take a look at her hair, you see that her ponytail kind of bobs around right there. That's what we call a dangler mesh. If we disable that, she no longer has hair. So yeah, that can also be found on like Basila's hair, for example. So now a cool one is we can enable QA triggers, which doesn't do anything off the bat, but if we enable trigger rendering, we'll be able to see a difference there. So let me go give you some example of what trigger rendering looks like. So triggers are little invisible sections in this game that when you walk over them, you cause things to happen. Wait, I turned on QA triggers and trigger rendering. Why isn't this working? Oh, right, of course. They don't they render on single pass, so you need to retrigger a render by refreshing the game. There we go. So yeah, and they'll show up here. So this is the little trigger for Karf's conversation. So you'll notice if I touch this, he talks to us. Yeah, which is cool. Here, I'll go ahead and reload this just to show. So that's another neat one. I also went ahead and extracted the colors for this, so we can change what color it is. So let's say if we wanted to make him, I don't know, kind of a darker color. So load. Actually, this can make it lighter, come to think of it, but I'm adding some blue to it. See, now it's a bit kind of more of this gray. If we pull the green out, well, this is gonna be kind of like a reddish, dark, pink thing. Yeah. So that's really cool. I'm going to leave those enabled for now because those are cool. Another one we can do is we can ignore materials. So that's going to get rid of things like, various specular sort of rendering and lots of the details for how lighting works in this game. Another really cool one is render personal space. So you see, we get the actual collision that our characters use is the form of an octagon. And also, it's harder to see, but there's this little dot. That's our character's absolute position. So, if we go ahead and grab Karth here, you'll notice that the trigger will activate as soon as our dot enters in, right there. So that's how the triggers are actually determined. So that's the specific dot. Also, for those of us who do speedrunning things, that's what you need to line up with the DLZ line, that dot there. So yeah, that's a really useful one. Now there's show path, which only will appear if you enable render dev. There we go. So now you see all these lines here. For the current selected person, these are the lines that they are walking along. So look at this guy, he's walking along this line, right? And as soon as he gets to the end of that line, he's going to calculate something new. You have to stay selected on him because it's just whoever you selected on. Wish I'd picked somebody with a shorter path to show this off with. But you also notice that his little center dot is exactly locked to that line on his personal space. But you notice his personal space collided with Sif, so it creates a new tree of things to try, and so now he's not directly on it anymore. And he gets there, and he waits for a second, and then he's going to chart out a new line in just a moment. And there it is, and he's going to walk it. So yeah, we can look at path finding stuff. So those are most of the really useful ones that I've come across. Also, because of a bug, this line is going to stay there forever now. There's the drunk conversation. What else do we have? So this one, I just called it Kill Party. It's how they manage the party hurt thing. And so if you set it to 1, Karf dies instantly, and then it gets set back to 0. If you set it to other numbers, different people will die. For example, if I set it to -1, -1, oopsie, don't do that. What did I just do there? -1, please. Thank you. Main character dies and drops to 1 HP. Or 9 HP, apparently. I did something weird there. Anyways. We go again. -1. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't totally figured out how that one works just yet. This next one is speed blur. Sorry for spinning you out like that. So, if you have force speed activated and you turn this to 1, this will turn to 1, and then if you switch back to 0, the blur will stop, and that's only the case if you have frame buffer effects enabled. I'm not going to bother demonstrating that. Here, we'll look at walk try. So, if we set walk try to 1, this one is very subtle, but if you look now down on my little dot right there, it's actually so hard to see, and I get the, oh, main character died. Okay, let's see if but yeah, if you see as I'm moving along here, right above where my mouse is, there's these little lines that are showing the angle that Karth is walking against this. And that is the direction he's trying to go and the direction he's actually going. And as you just walk normally, this will show up too. It's essentially just a little line showing you the direction they're trying to walk. I wish it was more visible, but yeah, so that's another little feature. Let's see, disable letterbox is interesting. So the letterbox is the situation you get into whenever you have conversations with people. So yeah, if I just click Karth here, you see there's no letterbox now. So we can turn that off and on. That's a fun one. This next one is called party smoothing. So this is smoothing out the paths that your party members take when running to you. If you disable this, it basically just makes them suck at following you. So we'll let Karth give his best shot here. He's actually doing okay. Oh, my bad. Get out of here. But you'll notice that his following me is a lot worse than it usually is. And I'm gonna see if I can lose him. Yeah. Oh, he's twitching all over the place. Yeah. So basically, it just really simplifies the party following algorithm, for better or for worse. Oh, where is he going? Okay. But yeah. So there's that one. Create GUIs is hard to demonstrate, and I still don't fully understand it, but it's essentially whether or not they're caching existing GUIs, and so you can get some weird stuff with that. Enable environment map. Actually, I don't know if this does. I haven't noticed what this does yet. Yeah, I have a lot of other things on here that I have been messing with, but I don't know if they do anything just yet. So we're going to skip past all of these and jump down to the camera settings. So, yeah, just for the sake of getting rid of this annoying line, I'm going to reset the game real quick. Reattach KotOR is the process. Keep current address list. Cool. So yeah, we'll just load back in over here. So right now, the camera is fully attached to us, but there's this cool little feature called override camera. And if you do that, it's gonna switch your camera to be at this X, Y, and Z, and with this quaternion facing W, X, Y, Z. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it to somewhere more reasonable. So where am I? 112, 113, 0. Okay, so we'll put you at 112. 113, and I'm gonna put you at like, I don't know, 15. Cool. So there we go. We're right around where we are now. Boo. So I'm actually inside of here. If I could run out. Yeah. So you'll notice you can see how the culling works. As I rotate my character around, different things come into and out of cold distance. In Cheat Engine, I actually bound these to hotkeys, so I can scroll around now. So if I scroll down here, there's my main character. So you can see him, the light move as I rotate him around, and I can run him in circles. Just fun. And what else can we do? So we can also do some adjustments to like the pitch and the roll. So if I take this to like 0.25, for example, we'll see that we're kind of pulled down a bit. And I'll back it up a tad. Yeah. But so yeah, essentially you can mess around with the camera and do some fun stuff like this. It's really interesting to see how things get culled out as we rotate around. I'm just holding the rotate button. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have anything else I want to show off in here. Uh, there's a damage multiplier, so all your damage gets multiplied by this number. So if you set it to like 1,000, you'll insta kill most things. Disable damage just makes no damage occur for anybody anymore, which is another cool one. And all of this stuff up here is a lot of debugging things that I've had with some other stuff. There is one cool one here, enable light. Whereas if we enable this, everything gets super bright. Kind of similar to some of the other stuff I've shown before. Another cool one is display FPS. This, counter to what it says, does not make FPS appear, but allows you to do frame limiting. So here, I can show this off better if I get rid of the camera override. Yeah, so where did I put you? Display FPS. If I set you to say 10, now all of a sudden everything's really twitchy and slow because the game is now frozen to 10 FPS. And also, it's kind of buggy. Ugh. Oh yeah, it's real buggy. If you keep that at 0 though, oh, 0 FPS is not good either. I think I just lights out myself because of, oh yeah, 1 FPS is not the way to do it either. If I bump you to 60, are you gonna fix yourself? Yeah, it's a very buggy feature. Yeah, here we go, 60 frames per second. So yeah, display FPS, not something to really mess with. Yeah, screen height, screen width, and a lot of other stuff for things I've been testing. Your current character's position, camera, bearing. But yeah, um, that's the bulk of what I had to show off for now. I'm always finding new things all the time. I will be making this cheat table available for anybody that wants to mess with it. Note, this is the GOG version of Knights of the Old Republic. So I cannot guarantee that these addresses will be the same on Steam or any other version of the game. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching.